Hey guys, it's Andy, and today we have our ColourPop ranking for 2022. So, I'm either going to double up my upload for today, which is New Year's Eve, or I'm going to post this on the 1st. But either way, I have tried to film this video 3 times, and the first time I did it overhead style, and I didn't like that. The second time, it was right before I knew I got sick, and so I didn't like how I sounded in the video, so I scrapped it. And the third time I filmed it, I filmed it, went into my SD card, and it was literally gone. Wasn't even there. It was like I never filmed it. So, for the 4th time, we're doing this hell or high water. And sorry for the long intro. But if you like today's makeup, VeggieTales just popped into my head. I will leave everything that I'm wearing listed in the description box, as well as my socials where you can find me where I do my makeup. And as always, if you like makeup unboxings with a little bit of horror sprinkled in, please consider subscribing, hitting that bell. I would love to have you here, and let's just get into it because we have 23 palettes to rank. So, let's get into the ranking. Palette number 23, we have the So Fly palette. For me, I just don't feel inspired to use this color story. I feel like this blue is super out of place, even though it's beautiful. Even though, it goes with the duochrome because it's got kind of a bluey green flip. But with the mattes, maybe if instead of this pink, we had a matte, light blue or something, maybe I think it would go better. But if you take out the blue, I think the palette is super wearable and gorgeous. But even though I love the blue, I just never find myself reaching for it, even though I love the formula of these bigger pans. So I just need to get over my head of that color story. In spot number 22, we have the Baroque palette, which mine looks a little different because I did switch out this shade. I don't even remember what it looked like before, but this is the Super Shock shade from the That's Taupe palette that I decluttered because I just think it rounded out the palette a little bit better for me personally. My qualm with this palette, when I bought it, I didn't have any grays in my collection, and I really wanted a gray color story. And this is blue gray. When I wear it, everyone's like, I love your blue look. And that's not what I wanted. I wanted gray. And these are blue grays. Now that I know that, I think it's beautiful and I do like it, but it wasn't what I wanted. So I never reach for it because I get annoyed every time I look at it. And I'm just like, you weren't what I wanted you to be. As pretty as it is, it wasn't what I wanted. You feel me? In spot number 21, I'm already forgetting the number. That's why I wrote them down this time. But I even numbered them wrong because I forgot a palette because it was in my project pan. So, woo, I'm winning at this. In spot number 21, we have the Fade into Hue palette, which looks like this. And I'm pretty sure that I just got a dud because this half of the palette is just awful. This half performs like I know ColourPop shadows to be. It's beautiful. This half, super patchy, doesn't last long on the eyes, fades into nothing. I can't get this shimmer shade to perform for anything. And it's not like it has hard pan, but I've done the tape, I've done the scraping. I can't even get it to swatch on my hand. I can't get anything out of this shade. And for me personally, I wish every row had a pressed glitter. That's just a pet peeve because I love ColourPop pressed glitters. Why do we only get 3? Every row should have a pressed glitter, in my opinion. But yeah, I think I just got a dud with this one because most people absolutely love that palette. In spot number 20, we have the Main Squeeze palette, which looks like this. I never reach for this palette. Absolutely never. One, I wish it had a lighter shade than this gold because I don't really wear gold. So I just never find myself reaching for that shade. And then I wanted this to be reds, a watermelon red. But these are more like pinky berries, like mid-tone berry shades, which again, they're pretty, but I bought this palette wanting it to be reds, and it's not reds. So, just personal preference. All of these are absolutely fantastic palettes. I don't have a ColourPop thing that I like hate, so it's just preference. The only reason I decluttered the That's Taupe palette is because I absolutely despise taupe shades on my lids. And I knew I was never going to use that one again, which is why I decluttered that. It's the only ColourPop palette I've decluttered. Otherwise, because even this one, in spot number 19, we have Mint to Be. I've learned that I don't really like mint shades on my skin tone and on my eyes, but I keep this for the once or twice a year that I get a wild hair when I want to wear mints, because this is everything I want from mint. But I don't like mint and I don't like taupe on my eyes. But I do use this once or twice a year, whereas the taupe palette, nope. I've decluttered because I also had the taupe palette from Juvia's Place, and I decluttered that too, because I don't like taupes. And maybe I'm just user error. I feel like they wash me out real bad. In spot number 18, we have, for some reason, this one is always really hard for me to open. We have the Strawberry Shake palette. For me, I love this peach shade, but it doesn't make sense in this. I wish this one was in the Baby Got Peach palette instead. And these are just not the shades of pink that I reach for personally. Very beautiful palette, but I have other pinks from ColourPop that I just like more. And yeah, this one doesn't close right. It's very hard to open, and I don't know why, but I digress. In spot number 17, we have Baby Got Peach, which I bought really specifically for this pressed glitter in Hungry Ghost because I love it. Like I said, I will tell you a million times over, I love ColourPop pressed glitters. But I've also learned that I don't really love, and it's really just this tone of peach, this mid-tone, because these are really all the same tone. You don't have a lot of deepening or even lightening. That this does nothing for me as a palette, but the glitter does. So that's why I bought it, and that's why I keep it, because it's good to have. These palettes are good to have. In spot number 16, we have It's My Pleasure. Again, for me, I have better purples. You will see a couple other purple palettes. This is just my least favorite purple selection that I have. I really love this Mr. Sandman shade because I feel like it's super unique. And I do like their mattes with glitter. I think they're called sequin shades, I believe. But this purple doesn't feel like it belongs in this color story. And this matte almost doesn't feel like it belongs. That almost looks prettier. A 6-pan? That's gorgeous. But I don't know. So I'm still getting over being sick. I apologize. I will do my best to edit out any coughing or sneezing or anything, because I know it's not fun to hear, but I do apologize. In spot number 15, we have Going Coconuts, which this is just rating as low as it is because it's neutrals, even though I am wearing neutrals today, but I just don't find myself gravitating towards this palette. And that might change coming into the new year because I have found my love for neutrals. But for me, it's just, I love my colorful palettes from ColourPop. What I will say is I do love that this is a true neutral palette. Most of my nudes are either cool toned or warm toned. This is my one and true neutral nudes that I have. And this white shimmer to die for. So I feel I could have ranked that a little bit higher, but from Going Coconuts on up, I love them. I love all these palettes and I use them. The ones beneath those, I just I have them from when I get a wild hair and want to use them or pick a shade. In spot number 14, we have the It's a Mood palette, which for this is as low as it is for just petty reasons for me. One, why is this a teal? This should have been a darker green. I hate that. Because this pulls way more blue. This row, like, this purple doesn't feel like it goes. This doesn't feel like it goes with the blue row. This doesn't feel like it goes here. Again, with our pressed glitters, I love ColourPop pressed glitters, and I wish every column had a pressed glitter because I love them so much. But yeah, for me, it's just a little bit of a color story issue. The performance on this one, outstanding, but it's a pet peeve. Like, every time I open it to use it, I'm just like, why did we make these decisions that we made for this palette? In spot number 13, we have Wine and Only, which looks like this. I love that this is so deep and dark and grungy, but again, I wanted some true, like, blood reds, and these are still just darker berry tones. Like, they don't come out red, they come out like berry, like a burgundy, and I want a true red. I have such a hard time finding true reds. They either lean orange, or they lean pink, or berry, or mauve. I just want some real reds. That's all I want. But, like, it's a beautiful palette, and I love it so much. Now we're getting into, like, these are the bottom of my top favorites, if that makes sense. In spot number 12, we have Orange Glad, and if you can see, this is a pressed glitter, which I have decimated, because this is one of my first through palettes I ever bought. Love the color story, think it's gorgeous. I have some major dips in here. Beautiful. I just don't find myself wearing strictly orange, like, going into these monochromatic palettes as much, you know? And in spot number 11, we have Honey, which again, I have decimated that pressed glitter. This was another one of my first 3 I ever bought. And I have some huge dips. I love this brown with a yellow undertone. I love that for a deepening shade. And I love having these monochromatic palettes for encyclopedic reasons, really. And now we are going to move into my top 10. Let me grab them. Okie dokie. So, for rounding out my number 10 palette, we have Just My Luck, which looks like this. Again, I love this. This Mary Jane shade, gorgeous, and this brown with that greeny undertone. I wish I had more greens from ColourPop. That's bad on my part, but I love this palette. St. Patrick's Day, every year, that's the palette I'm wearing. Love it so much. Beautiful. In spot number 9, which this is the palette I forgot to rank in my original ranking because it's in a separate spot than the rest of my palettes. This is my High Tide palette. This is so unique to my entire collection. I do not have these kinds of teals anywhere else. And this is their newer, like, formula, which I love. I also really like these cardboard packagings. Again, this is for my Project Pan, which I haven't even used this yet in it, so, but that is why that is there. In spot number 8, we have On Cloud Blue. This is a pressed glitter, which is absolutely stunning. I love these blues. I wish there was a little bit more depth, but I have another blue palette coming up that I love to pair with this one. So I don't mind that this is more of a companion blue palette for me. It's still gorgeous. In spot number 7, we have On Cloud Blue's sister palette, if I can get it open, which is the Cloud Spun palette. Which, again, we have this beautiful pressed glitter. This shimmer is gorgeous. This palette got dropped, which is why this shimmer looks janky. But these are the shades of pink that I like. These more lighter with the... Like, I love this vibrant pink. So I love this pink palette way more. It's also a newer, more better formula, so... And then in spot number 6... we have my Ménage à Moi palette, which this one has 2 pressed glitters. I love that this is mauves. This is just such a soft, sweet, easy palette. Every time I use it, I love the looks that I get with it. Like, these were for holiday, I think 2020. And they're just so beautiful. And then in spot number 5, we have its companion palette, which was the Boudoir Noir, which only has one pressed glitter. Kind of wish it had a second pressed glitter instead of this bright gold, but I digress. This one ranks higher than Menage a Moi just because of color story. We got mustardy yellows and like sagey greens, and that is me in a palette, which is why this one ranks slightly higher. But I bought these together. They came out together, and they're just beautiful, and I love them. I can't say enough high praises. And now we're into my top 4 palettes, which these are hands down. If you do not have these, I highly recommend getting them. They are phenomenal, beautiful, gorgeous, stunning, all of the adjectives, fantastic. Spot number 4, we have the All Amethyst palette, which again is this cardboard packaging. I love this brilliant shade as a highlighter. This selection of purples, gorgeous. We love her. So this is definitely recommended. My number 3 palette, which is my final of my first 3 I ever bought, is the Blue Moon, which, look at that, organic pan. I love seeing that. And in a blue shade like that. But these shimmers are so unique to my collection. Like, when I'm going into blues, this is my original blue love. This is the palette that got me into blues, which my blue palettes have kind of exploded from there, but I digress on that. In spot number 2, we have Blow and Smoke. If you want a smoky palette, this is your go-to. This silver in Starstruck is literally like liquid silver. It is the most pigmented, beautiful silver I have in my entire collection. I love that we have a sequin black and the matte black. We have a matte white. Everything you could want out of a smoky palette is in this, and it's beautiful. Love it. And now you're like, Andy, you sang these high praises. What could be your number 1 palette? Well, I will tell you, it's been my number 1 palette since I bought it. And I don't think anything will ever come between me and this I Like You A Lot palette. This is my perfect purple palette, and I love it. Like, these tones, this color story, this, like, all the shimmers, but this cloud shade specifically, in love with. Like, just the way they arranged this, it's beautiful. I have such big dips in this purple palette. Like, this is my number 1 ColourPop palette, and I don't think anything will ever surpass this. I could be wrong, but, like, this is my baby, and I love it so much. And it's my favorite purple palette. It's my favorite ColourPop palette, and I love it. And yeah, that is all 23 palettes going into 2023, which is just so fitting. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Look out. It will be my ColourPop Super Shock ranking. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.